So on today's episode of This Old Truck, we are fixing the fact that this backup camera sticks out unprotected. We're going to make a cover for it. So simply put, let's see how far I need to make it. I need to make it at least 2 inches out. We're going to take one of these low-hanging fruit options here. So I'm going to take this rectangular tube I already have, cut it down to make a guard. I'll cover it, and then I'll do is I'll actually cut it so I actually have 2 tabs. This will be one piece. It'll get bolted onto the back of the truck. No, it won't take a massive hit, and later on, if we actually end up keeping it, we can weld it in. So I'm trying something new, and I'm going to use this bandsaw I got. It's not a great bandsaw, but I'm told by a variety of sources, don't use cutoff discs on aluminum because the aluminum gums up the blade. That's not really the problem. The problem is when it gums up the blade, it can have a tendency to explode. That's the problem. So I'd like to get some seat time with it so I can get used to it. I'll remark this down to 2 inches so I get this accurate. And also the kid's starting to go to sleep upstairs right now since we got home late. So let's be a little quiet. Ideally, a little bit quieter than rocking a cutoff wheel. It'd be kind of nice to not have to worry about sparking everything up and changing to pants that aren't vinyl. Okay, so next thing is cutting. So I laid out my 2 lines I need to cut. I want to cut all this one all the way off. I'm going to cut this section out, and that'll leave me 2 flanges to fold out. Then I'll pretty it up later. This is totally experiment. I have only test run this bandsaw, and quite frankly, I'm not very good at bandsaws. I'm a lot better at angle grinders. So let's see how this works. I like it. That cut really, really easily. Not very square, but really, really easily. Obviously, not thick material, but it's a really cheap Ryobi. No speed, 1-speed saw. So I'm actually really, really happy with the result for that. Yeah, that was pretty amazing. So I'm now gonna cut just on the inside here, down to this line to give myself a flange. I'm not too worried about accuracy right now. I want to get used to using this thing. If I don't like it, I'll do it again with the cutoff wheel tomorrow or another day where I can make more accurately, because there's a lot more seat time on the cutoff wheels than on this, but the only way to get better is to do it, so here I am. So good I did here. You can see I walked out a little bit there, walked out a little bit there. Not too happy with that. But I'm pretty happy with how fast that cuts for like gross cutting. I'm pretty happy. I'm probably not gonna end up using this for my actual final product, unfortunately. But you gotta try new things, I guess. Okay, so this is where steel and aluminum differ. I'm gonna beat the crap out of this. It's not gonna hopefully break. Normally I'd use a large sledgehammer for this. I really don't like this option. So I don't like this option because when I did the fold, you can see where it tore. So I'm actually going to ditch this whole thing, and I'll get back to you when I can make another cut. Much better second time around. Probably hit with a file, that's all I need to do. I'll notch my corner, pretty it up, weld on some tabs. I'll hold off on the tabs until probably tomorrow. But I'm going to take off this bottom part because it has the nasty little groove on the bottom. There, cut that off so I'll have a little bit of chamfer to it. Shows up plenty of strength for what I need to do. Then I'll cut this off flush so I won't have this bottom part. So I'm not worried about cutting all the way across. I need to cut this tab and this tab off. This will free this whole piece. I'm not going to drop out because it's clamped in right now. So I don't think it'll drop out. We'll find out in a second. Fully cut. I believe it's fully cut. So I'll get my gloves on for this one. Probably should have had them on earlier. Oh, it's still attached. Where are you still attached, mister? What am I trying to do? There it goes. It's a little bit of persuasion. So that will be my guard. Hell, that could be a guard even. I don't like that one though. I'll toss this scrap. So if you were to imagine with me, let's say this is roughly backup camera size. Not too hot. It'll live down inside here. So it'll be protected from bumps, scrapes, and all sorts of stuff. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back, knock off these edges here, clean that up, and maybe hit a file, and pretty much done so for right now. I'm contemplating welding it. I don't want to weld it onto the truck yet because I'm just not quite there yet. I mean, we've had it for maybe a month, not even a month, a couple weeks. Just I'm not quite there in the relationship yet. It's all polymer, so I mean, it's not gonna like do lineman duty or anything on that, but I'll I'm sure I cut some anything steel pretty dang easy. A little bit of bend left, that's fine. I'm gonna hit out the flapper disc right now. So after all that, I'm gonna still use the grinder. Barely touch the edges just to knock off the sharp edges. And I gotta get these last two bits here. Which I can by doing that. Got a little bit of burrs on the inside, so I will get this one in there. A good cheap file for that would be it's a cheap chainsaw file set. I have a real cheap Harbor Freight set. I'm gonna use some stuff, but it does only a marginal job. I have a decent file, not. If you know what you're doing, you're like, yeah, sure, decent my butt. I've used this one file for a long time, and these are just chainsaw sharpening files. They're good to get in little edges and like this little corner here to round out, so I don't just sit on it with the flapper. Same position wise, I try to keep all my, if I can turn you up there, all my, right here, all my files are right there next to most I'm doing my work, so if I need to do anything, I just quickly grab it and keep on going. It's quickly how fast tools become useless so you can't get them easily. So if it's been relatively sharp, I can run my finger across it just fine. And when I'm done, I'll hit it once again with a file to knock off any little burrs from any welding work I do on it. But this will sit like this. Camera sits underneath here, and it's profit, I guess. So it's all not really profit, is it? This video is maybe 10 minutes of raw recording time. That's how much actually work was done to get this done. And this will let the camera last a lot longer. I've already bumped it a few times and it's only been on there a week and a half. So I like to keep my backup camera. So my options right now, I go for easy. Drop a piece of angle out the plate out the sides, bolt it on. If this was something that wasn't aesthetic, probably a pretty good option. Aesthetically, I think it'd be pretty baller to put the bracket on the inside, like that. Come in 3/4 inch, 3/4 inch. That'll take up 1.5 inches. This is 2 3/4 wide, so I'll have just over 1 inch of clearance in the center. The camera bracket will take up just under 1 inch, so that'll give me room to set this in. Drill 2 holes, mount it, and it'll look cool, killer, because there'll be nothing on the outside holding it in. This thing's not going to be set up to take, massive hits. Right now, that camera bracket's super thin sheet metal. It's designed for, cars, and not where it is in the very back of a flatbed truck that's going to be taking hits. This should do its job. I'll probably do 2 number 10 bolts, or maybe go up to even 1/4 bolts to hold it in. So let's get to cutting. I'm marking my whole plan on this thing so I don't mess it up. It's 3/4 by 1 inch, so it's pretty easy to weld it wrong. So I'm marking a little up arrow. Make sure I get that right. Did I mention I'm really liking the bandsaw? A little bit of air gap wherever the camera may be, but I can then fill it with some weld. Here it is, the rear backup camera cover. It's been on now for, 2-3 weeks now. Holding up pretty strong. I'm going to put some more caulk around it eventually, but yep, there it is.